What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Something Different. We're talking the Royal Rumble with my co-host Varangian Vigilante, and we're gonna be doing this probably for all the big pay-per-views because we did the Survivor Series back in November.
Oh, WrestleMania is gonna be epic.
And we was like, man, let's do the Royal Rumble. Because the Royal Rumble 2025 takes place tomorrow night. And it's one of my favorite events. Love it, the road to WrestleMania. So we decided we're going to talk the Royal Rumble, the history of the event, why it's so fascinating. And then we're going to get into our top 5 matches and our top 5 favorite Rumbles. So, BV, I know this is going to be an epic discussion.
And it was one hell of a preparation. You know, they should call me the 60-hour man.
But yeah, this is going to be fun because when it comes to an event like this, I remember the first Royal Rumble I ordered, with my own allowance money, was the 1998 Royal Rumble. And ever since then, I've been ordering Rumbles every year for majority of that run.
The first Royal Rumble that I've seen, like when it actually here was on time released, all the others before I have later seen on VHS, is actually not on the list. I would love to be it on the list. It has also good storytelling in it. It's the 1995 Royal Rumble, but in the Rumble match, you could really see they were scraping the bottom of the barrel with anything that is not Lex Luger, Shawn Michaels, and British Bulldog.
Because those were the only 3 names that mattered.
Yeah, I mean, 27. Fucking Dick Murdoch. No reaction in the audience. Nobody said it.
Hey, and if this match would have took place in the 70s or 80s, then yeah, in the South, then Dick Murdoch would have got it. And the funny thing is, this match, the whole pay-per-view took place in Florida, so it's but no reaction for Dick Murdoch.
Zero reaction.
And yeah,
you're right. Exactly, no problem.
You talk scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the wrestlers that took place, like a bunch of no names, a bunch of names that just didn't really mean nothing at the time. Yeah, that 95 Rumble, I can't even rank that. And plus, it was the shortest Royal Rumble of all the Rumbles.
Exactly. It was it went
yeah, because it was 1 minute intervals. And people was like, nah, man. Shawn Michaels didn't go 60 minutes in that match.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Royal Rumble is one of my favorite events. It's a lot of people's favorite event. I've done the live stream of the last 3 years with Super Russ, and it's always fun to talk with people about how the Rumbles are and what's their favorite Rumble and all the people that's coming out. So it's just a fantastic event. And the genius of it, instead of doing the normal battle royal, they hey, start with 2 guys, and then each 90 seconds a new guy coming. And it's man, it's such a genius concept.
But it's the intervals, especially in the early areas were very time was very very fluid.
Yeah, it would be hit and miss. Sometimes it'd be longer than what it says, and then it's shorter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Royal Rumble is just a fantastic event. And it's always something to get up for.
And that's the thing, by rewatching way too many Rumbles in the last week. Actually, a lot of Rumbles are when you already know who's coming out and who know it's ending. Actually, are a slug. But when you watch them, of course, without knowing anything, every Rumble, the concept of the Rumble is when you watch it live or when you watch it for the first time without knowing anything. Every Royal Rumble is excellent, except for when Cena is in. I fucking hate him. But it's always, it's the Rumble. It's it's for me, it's the most. The time in wrestling the year when I'm the most hyped, because it just you never know what happens. There's so many surprises. I mean, like I mean last year, I mean Jordan Grace coming out as the TNA champion. How awesome was that?
And now she's part of the company now. She's
Yeah,
definitely doing
yeah,
something.
rightfully so. She's amazing, and yeah, that's like I really hope for some cameos we're gonna get this year.
And
But
that's another good thing about the Rumble, the surprise entrance.
exactly.
Sometimes it's returning legends. Sometimes it's somebody that was injured within like the last year or something. Then they just make a surprise comeback. Like, as much as we hate him, he surprised the fuck out of us in the 2008 Rumble with John Cena.
I immediately turned off the fucking TV even though I paid for the pay-per-view. That bothered me so much because 2008 I was so happy because I was like, I'm watching the Royal Rumble and there's no chance of Cena being in it because I don't want anybody to be injured. And he had a fucking injury where you don't come back so soon. And then number 30 and I hear the music and I was like, fuck. I was so close to throw the fucking the remote control at the TV. I was so fucking close, but I was like, no, nah, I have nothing of this. And of course, that motherfucker won. Like, fuck you, Cena. If Cena wins this year, we riot.
Your blood was boiling. But
and that's the thing, I don't even have anything personal against Cena. Guy seems to be like an excellent dude, all like the thing he does with the Make-A-Wish Foundation is amazing. Like, kudos to everything like he does in that regard. I just don't want to see him in a wrestling ring.
Well, we're gonna see him in the Rumble tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's
I know. As soon as his music hit, you can be like groaning and you like, man. Hey, the biggest surprise is he come in the ring and gets the Santino Morales treatment and gets so quick. But yeah, I just want to show up here. This was the Royal Rumble Complete Anthology box set that came out back in 2008.
That should come out with a lifetime guarantee, but it just sent you the new ones.
Hey, when they first announced it, I was like, yeah, I have to get it.
Yeah, that's a royal edition, I would say.
Yeah, I have that and the SummerSlam box set. But yeah, that shows just how important the Royal Rumble was for me because I had to have it, even if I had to sit through the Attitude Era and all the blurry logos when they were blurring that damn logo. But yeah. Some of my favorite Rumble moments and honorable mention matches, like I love the 1989 Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's the last part of it was weak, but that was the first 30-man Rumble because the first Rumble, 1988's Royal Rumble, was 20 men. That was like testing out the concept.
Yeah.
And then 89 was the full 30 man.
Because Vince was not convinced in the beginning.
Yes, he wasn't convinced.
But Pat Patterson luckily got his idea through.
And it's a genius idea, man. And one thing I love about it is, at the early days, you really couldn't predict who would win it. And there was really no stakes at it. So anybody could have won.
Exactly, because especially when the first one, like with Jim Duggan and that with Big John stuff, like where it's like, well, it was like really there was nothing to gain. There was like no WrestleMania title match. Everything changed in the best year.
Yes.
Yeah, that.
And then I love the storyline of the $1 Million Man in those two Rumbles. Where 89, he bought his way to get the number 30 spot. And then in 90, they forced him to have the number 1 spot when he chose it. He could not buy his way. And he was awesome in that Rumble.
Yeah.
So, it's like the things that they do throughout those Rumbles were enjoyable. And then an honorable match, I mentioned it backstage, but Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon at the 1993 event. underrated match.
We might gonna talk about that match later on again.
Yeah, that didn't make my top 5, and I know you'll be like, man, you put a John Cena in your top 5 over that? I know. But Bret Hart and Diesel at the '95 event.
That is my honorable mention. This is a match that I would love to have. I would love to have on the top 1 spot. But the interferences and the draw ending bothered me so much when I was a kid, and rewatching it, it still like bothers me now. It's like, it's a Royal Rumble. Don't give us like a shitty finish like this.
Yeah, if it would have had a finish, and I understood why they didn't win with a finish, because Diesel was still the new champion, and they didn't want Bret to win the belt back. And they was like, we booked themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
So we gotta have a Haas-Moss finish.
Yeah. And of course I think we have like another Psycho Michaels title match at a Rumble. That's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, it was a good, solid match, but nowhere near the quality of the Survivor Series.
Who's the man?
And also another match I thought it really launched them going towards WrestleMania 2000 was the Dudley's Hardy Boys table match at Royal Rumble 2000. Like you had the Hardys and Edge and Christian had their ladder match.
I think generally, I'm not the biggest tag team fan, but I think at the Rumbles you had like some really nice tag team matches, especially in the early 2000s.
Then you also, the match that made my top 10 list was Shawn Michaels Undertaker casket match at the Rumble '98. The match
caskets matches are always nice. Of course, the Undertaker was I think it was also buried. I know it was like also like in the casket match against Yokozuna was at the Rumble.
Yeah, '94.
Yeah, where basically everybody got out and that's a story that culminated at the SummerSlam with Leslie Nielsen.
Hey, they had Leslie Nielsen at SummerSlam with the investigate where's the Undertaker, and then after Undertaker comes back, they do the rematch with Yoko, and he got Chuck Norris to be an enforcer on the outside.
And of course, like one epic Royal Rumble moment in general, which actually was a very surprising WrestleMania main event that didn't suck. That should have totally sucked, but it didn't suck. With a person that probably took more drugs than everybody in WWE combined, with Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bigelow.
Oh man, I would say Lawrence Taylor, he tried his ass off, and he worked his ability. Absolutely,
I think still that up to Logan Paul from coming in as a non-wrestler, I think that still Lawrence Taylor was the best non-wrestler they ever put like in a wrestling. Even of course if you don't want to count John Cena as a wrestler because he can't wrestle for saving his life.
Another thing I like about something that was '96 Royal Rumble was the build up to Undertaker Diesel at WrestleMania. And
it's actually also a very underrated WrestleMania match with Undertaker. Of course, Diesel already at that point being mentally checked out of WWE.
But I love the storyline between them two.
Yeah.
And their interaction at the Royal Rumble really set the stage because Diesel cost Undertaker that match against Bret Hart at that Royal Rumble. So there was a lot of interesting moments and stuff that happened at the Rumbles. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my top 5, and I will say that my number 5 probably would be a controversial one, but it was an amazing match, and I can't have a Rumble list.
I think in general we have to say, of course, our lists are very subjective.
Yeah.
You can make top lists for so many reasons. But personally, I think I just don't want, copy any list. I didn't look at any list before I did my list, and it's really just very personal. And probably the list would be already different if I would do it like next week. So like there doesn't matter if something is controversial or not. Those are our lists and makes them valid.
And he's going to show up on my list twice because he had 2 great matches at the Rumble. But this is number 5 for me. Let me just double check. Bam. Jericho, Benoit.
That's my number. That's my number 3. Hey. So it's not a that's. This is such a fucking intense match. This is one of the matches that I would show every wrestler, every new wrestler, every jabroni that comes into the league and is fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. This is one of the matches where you should show them this is what it means to fighting for an Intercontinental Championship. This is what the title means. This is what the title is supposed to be. And both men, 2 of the most fantastic wrestlers like in the history of wrestling. Sadly, one, that's also the thing, is like he is a murderer. If there is some such thing as a hell, he deserves to be in it. But who knows, like with his brain, how much he was really still in there at that point. But it's like, one of the most fantastic wrestlers ever. Like Paul Heyman says it, Chris Benoit, the human being, fuck him. Chris Benoit, the wrestler, one of the best ever.
And the thing about it is, they had a fantastic rivalry in 2000. Yeah. The matches they had at Backlash, Judgment Day, SummerSlam, and on Raw and SmackDown, phenomenal matches. And these 2 had great matches in WCW as well.
Absolutely,
and they carried right over to the WWF.
Yeah.
And they were able to tell great stories over the Intercontinental title.
Absolutely. And personally, I'm not a fan how WWE is treating Chris Benoit by just ignoring him. I would still show things and just have a disclaimer maybe. It's just a pity also for the other wrestlers involved in these matches, because you have so many classic moments in WWE history, and also like Jimmy Snuka is a fucking murderer, and they're still showing like his scenes. And wrestling, like Vince McMahon once said, he's like in the garbage business, and it's like you should not ignore. Hey, Biggie, you should not ignore what people did, but I still think you should be able to talk about the matches also officially.
I agree. And some of the stuff, this to me is what a singles ladder match should be.
Yes.
Not over the top high spots where they like death defying stunts that can either take your career away and stuff, but brutality.
Exactly.
The dive that Benoit did to the outside for Jericho to smack him with a chair.
No.
Crazy.
I mean, also the fucking flying headbutt from the ladder that Jericho avoided, and also the what's it again called? It's not the arachne, the spider move. That the submission move.
Jericho?
It didn't. It wasn't exactly, I think, the Walls of Jericho, but like when he used the ladder to, like on top of it, make like the submission move against, and of course, it's
just a great visual.
It's and like you said, this is what a single ladder match should be. This is a natural progression from the Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels ladder match.
Yes. And the intensity, it felt like a closure to their rival.
Yeah.
All the matches they had prior were like technical wrestling matches, and this was the blow off of all of that.
Exactly, and this is like how it should be. Also that Chris Jericho walked away with the Intercontinental title, and Chris Benoit moved on in the main event after a while.
Yeah. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, that's my number 3 because it's like I said, it's such an intense match. It's such a fantastic match. This is like really. What I also dislike, when two people hate each other in storyline and they start a match like with wrestling moves and fine finesse, etc. These two match started, they were just going at each other.
Yeah. Fantastic match.
Yeah. My number 5 is a match that's probably on nobody's list, but it's the Royal Rumble. And you need royalty in a Royal Rumble, even if it's not the Royal Rumble match itself. Here we're going to the 1989 Royal Rumble, where the King Harley Race is going against the King of the Ring, King Haku. And this is such an underrated match. Harley Race, I think at this point was like 45 years old, which is today nothing. Back then he was ancient. Back then 45 was like,
Hey, 45 was 65 back then.
Exactly, that's like, you can add like 20 to 30 years. However, like Harley Race, the way he sells, he took like 2 crazy bumps. Like he did 2 pile drivers that were just excellently executed. I still think that a lot of young wrestlers should watch the early stuff, like the Harley Race matches. The way he was able to carry a match, and here, of course, he was already on his way out of the WWE at that point. So he of course did the job like for Haku. Haku fantastic in every match, of course, and Harley Race, just the ring psychology. This is sometimes which is missing a little bit today. I think when they have matches where they clearly, they have like it's almost like fourth wall breaking.
There is no ring psychology.
Exactly, and because today very very often it's just move after move after move, and here's like the build up. And Harley Race was just phenomenal at this, and this is like Harley Race like in the twilight of his career, and still, it would be so fantastic today where WWE acknowledges like the prior compliments and the prior achievements of wrestlers, which I'm very happy that finally happens. But back in the day, of course, they couldn't talk about like his NWA, AWA like times, so they just gave him like the king gimmick. So he's the king of wrestling when he came in. That this match is like, the winner is the king of wrestling.
I will say this: when I was younger, and I had, my dad had the Royal Rumble '89 on VHS along with SummerSlam '89. I've always fast forward this match because I was young. I just wanted to watch the Rumble and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The older I got, and I started watching the match, I was like, man, this is a pretty intense.
The amount of storytelling they have in a 9-minute match.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like Harley was older, but he was that wise veteran that knew his way around.
Yeah.
And I love how Haku, he comes with the king gimmick and stuff. And Harley Race comes out, no music, no gimmicks, no bullshit. He just came out there to fight.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It really had an old school feel to that match.
Exactly.
It was like
in a very gimmicky time.
It was the last of an old school fight.
Yes, exactly. And this is why for me it's on my list. This match would probably not be on a top 50 list of Harley Race matches, but for the Royal Rumble to have like a throwback in a time that is already a throwback, it's just so glorious, and I really think that a lot of young wrestlers should watch it and see what is possible amount of storytelling in 9 minutes.
And the thing about it is, they did this without informing well, like the crowd didn't really have an incentive to cheer neither one of them because Harley never really turned babyface. He just came back and said, "Well, Haku is king. I was the previous king, so I want my throne back." So there wasn't really no like strong babyface turn for Harley, but the match was structured in such a way where it just had an old school fight, and the fans was really getting into it by the end.
And of course, also that Bobby Heenan basically is like, both a Bobby Heenan guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's Bobby Heenan in Royal Rumble.
Oh, it's classic. And we all know our top Royal Rumble is Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. We will get to that. Yeah. All right, so let's get my number 4 out the way. What's up, Kenneth? Shout out. Because it's the John Cena match. But I love, again, it's like a throwback to brutality, and it's the match he had with Umaga. And I was so mad. Yeah, I was so mad at the ending because I thought that he should have won this match. With how he performed and his Samoan gimmick of the monster, Umaga really elevated this match. And John Cena sold for him until he went into Super Cena mode at the end. And it's like, fuck, they just blew it all away. Yeah. But the match itself was brutal. It was one of the last blade jobs Cena did. And I was like, man, this match is just so good. And this is how you do an old school fight.
Yeah, and also shout out to the late Umaga's son, Silver 2, who is doing fantastic work on the independent scene. And I can't wait to see him in WWE because I think he's I think of course like he's with Jacob Fatu, I think the best wrestler from the current family.
And the Fatu line will just never end, man. It will never end. It's like so many Fatus.
I mean, along with Jacob Fatu's 200 kids, you can do like your own wrestling country.
I know, right? They can make their own wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that it's a shame that as good as Umaga was, he didn't capture the title here. And, I know they had the whole plans with the whole thing with Donald Trump and WrestleMania. Yeah. But at the time, I really felt that he should have won the title.
Yeah, especially since it was against Cena.
Everybody wanted Cena to lose.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is my number 4. Like I said, the finish doesn't take away from just how great that match was. And rest in peace to Umaga, man. Just it's a sad how his life ended.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Drugs and all that just took his life, and it sucked because we lost another great wrestler.
Yeah, rest in peace, Umaga. Yeah, my number 4, since you're already going last man standing match, my number 4 is a street fight. And we're going bloody, and we're going to 2002 Royal Rumble, where it was Vince McMahon versus Ric Flair. And I'm just a big sucker for Vince McMahon. Street fights, it's like probably Street Fight with Hulk Hogan. It's gonna be on my top WrestleMania list probably. I absolutely just love it, when Vince is being just himself, being an asshole. Like here he comes out, he's like at 2002, he's choked, he's so fucking swole. It's like I think what did Jerry Lawler said that in the beginning of the match that Vince McMahon has muscles on places where Ric Flair doesn't even have places. In general, I absolutely love the scene, later when Ric Flair chops the shit out of Vince McMahon, and Lawler says it's like, these chops could stop a heart, and Jim Ross was like, he has no heart.
No. Hey, shout out Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah.
Always had great backs and forth.
Absolutely. And in this match, it was, it's a bloody match. It starts like with Vince McMahon just going in town and beating Ric Flair to a bloody pulp. He's even doing like the figure four against him. He's bleeding, of course, like Ric Flair, bleeding like a pig, like Ric Flair style, like only he can do. And then the thing is that I think that Reed and Megan, Megan Flair, his son is sadly right under at ringside, and Megan has like a camera, and Vince takes the camera and takes a selfie with the bloody mess that is Ric Flair. It's glorious. And later Ric Flair like bites Vince and also takes a picture, and then at the end Ric Flair takes out like an iron rod, smashes it over Vince's head, and makes him submit in the figure four. It's just I love street fights, and especially Vince McMahon in a street fight. Give me that every day, and I'm gonna be like one happy camper.
Well, I have a street fight as my number 2, but we'll get to that. But I will say this: one thing about Vince McMahon, he's gonna make a match entertaining. As Scott Keith used to say, entertaining crap. Like you don't go into it taking it serious. Just be thoroughly entertained, and Vince McMahon will entertain you in any of his matches, whether it's him versus Hogan, him versus Flair, him versus Shane McMahon, him versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. It's like
and God.
Vince McMahon will make anything entertaining. That's the one thing I'll give Vince.
Yeah.
He put his body on the line at his age to entertain the crowd.
Yeah,
what
and
he did with Steve Austin in the cage when he fell off and hit the damn table, decapitated himself, man.
And that's the thing, I give a fuck what Vince did. It's wrestling. 90% a terrible human beings. It's like, but I will respect this man to the end of like until the bloody end. And this it's just such a glorious mess, and it's one of these matches I'm always rewatching, and like I said, you can make everything entertaining. It's just, I think Big Show is actually very boring in WWF, WWE. But like when they had like the cage match against the actually very lackluster the X reunion, and where they pushed his face into Big Show's ass. And that's the thing with Vince, where he doesn't expect anybody else to do something that he wouldn't do himself. The problem is only that he does some crazy things.
And it's almost as if to say his perverse mind is to do anything.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not saying he's a good human being. It's like no. He probably deserves more punishment by the law that he will get in this life. But I would I would have an out of soul experience if tomorrow No Chance in Hell will play. because
there's literally no chance in hell
that this happens. So.
I'll say this, man. That song always been a banger.
And we're gonna talk about that probably later too.
Alright, so my number 3 is actually from the same event as that Ric Flair Vince McMahon. One thing I love about this match is it is pure peak heel champion in Jericho. If anything, his championship run this year was mediocre, but I feel like this match was the best of his championship.
He's still the first undisputed champion. Nobody
still
can
the first undisputed champ. And one thing I love about this match is just the ending was hilarious with how he won it. He won it in pure heel format that nobody will do today because they can't be proper heels.
Yeah.
And
This is a night that we're gonna talk about. It's not the last time that we're gonna talk about 2002 today. It's just, and I will also mention this later. The crowd was amazing. They had so much fun. It was like the early 2000s. Young crowd, everybody crazy as fuck. It was the time, everything had to be red, radical, like crazy. Everybody was just hyped. Everybody in the audience like, yeah! You had it was like almost like the last hurrah of white trash wrestling fans. Like the signs wouldn't probably fly, most of them today.
They would get compensated immediately.
Yeah, it is like the 2002 Royal Rumble was just one glorious hurrah of it was like it felt like a big party. This Royal Rumble gave me actually Bash at the Beach WCW vibes, where everything just felt fun.
And it follows the Invasion storyline, which was just meh. And I always look at it like it's the last of the WWF pay-per-views before they switched the name to WWE. So it's just a special time. That small window.
Absolutely is.
And the rock bottom spot from one announce table to the other, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love the finish where he low blows the Rock, hit his head into the exposed turnbuckle, and then pinned him with his feet on the rope. And Jim Ross's call was amazing.
In generally, I think that as a whole show, I think the 2002 Royal Rumble is the second best Royal Rumble in history. The whole pay-per-view. I guess.
I like the Royal Rumble match, but it's not in my top 5. So I'm assuming it's in your top 5.
Yeah.
The only reason why I do that is because the structure of it, there was too many dead spots for me. But we'll get to that when you talk about it. We'll talk more about that.
Because it was so fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it later because I think that there are like 2 halves of it.
Yeah. But this is my number 3, and again, a fantastic title match, and again, Jericho to me at his peak of being a heel.
Yeah, we already talked about my number 3 because it was the Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho ladder match, which was absolutely epic. So let's do your number 2 and then my number 2.
Alright, my number 2 is probably my favorite of the street fights at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, hell yeah.
This match right here. If you talk about the anticipation, the build-up, the reveal and the return of Cactus Jack.
Exactly, not Mick Foley, not
Mankind, not Dude Love, but Cactus Jack. And Triple H sold the hell out of it when he revealed the shirt and the anger of Cactus Jack. The build up was fantastic.
Yeah, because also I think Mankind died from headshots like the year before.
Yes, because that match is in my top 10. But that match against The Rock.
Yeah, it was. Fuck yeah.
Like, it's hard to watch, but at the same time, it's fascinating to watch.
That would also in my top 10, it would also have been, but it's not on my list. But yeah. And this also, this really speaks for Mick Foley as a storyteller, as a human wrecking ball, as somebody who sacrifices everything for the business. That basically, I think if you make top lists of any sort of matches, maybe not a bra and panties match, like a Mick Foley match would always be like in the top 10.
And the thing is, he knows how to get other guys over. Like Triple H during '99, even as champion, he was struggling to really be solidified as that main event guy.
Yeah. WrestleMania 22, like his match against Edge, where he put Edge over as a tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this match solidified.
Against Randy Orton. Like, he made Randy Orton a serious... Like, he turned Randy Orton from a boy into a man.
Yep. And Foley has that knack to do it. He made The Rock the man he is because of his feud with Foley.
Yeah.
And then this match. See, these guys had matches going back to 97. You know, with the first reveal of Cactus Jack. So the history between them was there. But this match was the pinnacle of all their matches. This match was just classic. The thumbtacks, the brutality, the barbed wire 2x4. You know, the callback to the year before Rumble with The Rock, with them handcuffing Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
About to bash him in the head with a chair. And then The Rock interfering in it. This match was just everything. And it elevated Triple H to main event status completely. So,
yeah, because it is like that era, because, you know, especially like in 1999, he was very over with the fans, but he was basically just thrown out like nothing by Stone Cold.
Yeah. And I still dislike the fact that they made Big Show champion. Like, they should have just had Triple H retain. But they had to go with the whole Vince McMahon match at Armageddon. So they like, yeah, let's put the belt on Big Show and then put it back on Triple H.
Yeah, that's the thing that is totally works against Big Show for the perception of the fans, because he's not very changeable. But that's also one of the things which is one of Big Show's biggest strengths, is that he's always somebody who could believably put a title on.
Yeah, and plus he wasn't really built up strong in 99 anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is fantastic.
And yeah, also a classic. So, my number 2, to quote from the pre-interview of the show, "Tomorrow, Chico, when I leave this arena, I'm going to have gold around my fingers, gold around my neck, and Hitman, I'm gonna have gold around my waist." Razor Ramon versus Bret the Hitman Hart, Royal Rumble 1993, with one of my most favorite Bobby Heenan commentaries. You have, of course, title match for WWF title. And as you know, Bret Hart is a family man. Razor before like attacked Owen when they were still like, Owen was still a good brother. And so you had Stu Hart and his wife like front row, and Bobby Heenan said, "Are you sure those are his parents? I thought they're the monsters." Rest in peace, Bobby Heenan. I absolutely love it. And yes, Stu Hart looks like.
And we talked about it at the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan was gold in that Hart family match in '93.
But yeah, excellent. You know, everything that I said about the Harley Race match, you see here even more imperfection, because you have two performers who were close to their peak. You know, Bret, the ring general, the ring strategy, and you had like Razor Ramon still being a heel, and it's just so fantastic because he draws such a fantastic heat while the Hitman is wildly cheered. Like, you know, in this era, it was really, you know, the Hitman was so over, and Razor had already star written on him. I also think that in terms of his, as you know, sadly that with his with Scott's drug issues and with his alcohol issues, that was the reason why they never put a big title on him, but just the potential, that he had as a. I mean, there's still people nowadays that just find out that he's not from Cuba. That is.
Scott Hall had the character down pat to the point where he had a lot of people that they thought he was really Cuban. So it's like, and you got to love the mannerisms, the Chico and the whole toothpick throw.
Yeah,
Scott Hall just he oozes machismo.
Yeah. And the storytelling in this match, the way that Brett just works the legs and
I love that story part. Like, can he get the sharpshooter on? Because Brett was so tall and long, it's like.
And the way he does it, out from the counter when they're both on the floor, and he puts like a sharpshooter on the floor and then turns him around. That was, that's and that's like the thing with Brett, that that's also something you get when you listen to his interviews. The few moments in between before he rants about somebody, where you're actually getting the good information. That he always thinks about how to make like a unique match ending, to give something new. For example, the spot that he did with British Bulldog at the SummerSlam in Wembley, which he originally wanted to do. I think against the Killer Bees or somebody, like in a tag match, and they said they don't want it, and he was so happy that he didn't waste it, like the great ending at them, and he could give it like to Davey Boy. And also here, like this ending, this is actually, I absolutely love it when wrestlers have like a finishing move that can be applied from different positions. With the sharpshooter, is actually a finishing move where I think, there's only one way to apply it. But Brett came up with so many different positions where he could start a sharpshooter from. And in this match, it's just flawless.
When he did the sharpshooter to Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam, laying down and then putting his legs crossed and then turning around, he did it here, and it's like, man, Bret Hart just knows how to come up with creative finishes. And the match itself was great. Like, it's always a toss-up between this match and the King of the Ring rematch they had, because I think both matches are unique for different ways of how they do it.
It had such a fantastic chemistry, so it's actually really like a pity that this could have been like a fantastic feud, a long-term feud.
And when Razor turned babyface, it killed any future matchup between the two.
Sadly.
But here, they just had such great chemistry, man. And again, it's a testament to Bret Hart. His matches always hold up. Like every time I watch them, it's like you see new things in it. And it's like, see, that's the missing psychology that modern wrestling don't have. Like you said earlier, it's just move after move after move, but nobody's properly selling. Nobody's taking the time to like dissect some of these moves and say, yeah, that move hurts. Let me sell it the proper way and make my opponent look good at the same time. Brett made Scott Hall look really good and a formidable opponent.
Yes.
And he did the same with Kevin Nash during the King of the Ring, the Royal Rumble, Survivor. He made them look good.
Exactly. Like the old quote goes that Bret Hart could out-wrestle you in a telephone booth.
He can out-wrestle you and still put you over.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Bret and Shawn. I like Shawn, but a lot of his matches, he makes himself look too good.
And that's the thing. That Kevin Nash and Shawn are like really good, like best buddies.
And Shawn made him look like shit after WrestleMania.
And Shawn make him look like shit, while Bret never liked the Glick, and he put him over.
Like Bret, he worked tweener against Nash at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I want to make Kevin look good. They're making him the champ. I'm gonna do everything in my power that at least make him look good as a champion.
Yeah.
Whereas Sean is like, I'm gonna get all my shit in and make myself look good.
Yeah. So I also like, just like with the Harley Race match, this match is also, it's a blueprint to study how to do like a great wrestling match.
Exactly. So, my number one match took place right after a terrible match. And this is at the 2003 Royal Rumble. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. This match
Kurt Angle, like Chris Benoit. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. It's
like you cannot go wrong. They have phenomenal matches the previous 2 years, but this match was the peak. It's like that Jericho Benoit match, Rumble match, being the peak of their feud. This match was the peak of the Angle Benoit feud, and they delivered because the atrocity that was the Scott Steiner Triple H match at the Royal Rumble.
And I am a big Scott Steiner mark, and I'm a big Triple H mark, and I absolutely hate this match, and it should never have happened at this point. It didn't let Scott Steiner heal from his injury, and it absolutely shows.
It was a bad match.
It is, and
I agree. Like, Scott Steiner should have not been pushed so quickly to the title feud. Like, they should have just built him up. But
and also let him heal because he was injured.
But yeah, this match right here was a wrestling clinic, and it was so good. With Benoit and Angle just going back and forth. The whole the German suplex, the flip German suplex was beautifully executed. The way the story told with Benoit fighting from underneath and Kurt Angle, trying his best to put Benoit away. The crowd was just biting it up, and they was like, "Man, we are sold." And the last part of the match was just pure match. It's a match that when this match aired and I recorded it on tape, I probably watched it about 15 times within a couple weeks because it was just that good.
Yeah, this would also have been in my top 10 list.
But it's for me.
There's nothing to like. It's Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. Like it's a dream match.
Yeah, and it's like just the pinnacle of title matches at Rumble, man. It's just a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
So that is my top 5. So that I one thing I like about your list is you had the street fight with Vince and Rick, but that Harley Race Haku match is highly underrated, and it's like I like the difference in you having that in your top 5. People will look at it like, that match ain't top 5, but when you watch the match, it's like it's an old school fight, and it definitely have some high stakes in it.
Yeah, I'm like with my list, I'm going also like which matches do I want to revisit, and like my number 1 is actually where I don't even think it's recency bias because I'm actually very critical about a lot of recent Rumbles, etc. But I think that the Royal Rumble 2023 is the best Royal Rumble in history. As an event.
Okay.
The whole event that first of all, because you had 2 fantastic Royal Rumbles, one of them we're gonna talk later, but when you have 2 fantastic Royal Rumbles and none of them main events to show, speaks about how important the main event is. And this main event was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at the peak of the Bloodline story. With, of course, the storyline that Sami Zayn, as an honorary Uce, is, he was under trial. And he was giving not guilty, but but he was still under There was still some suspicions against him, especially since they're going against Kevin Owens, which is Sami Zayn's best friend. And
I just want to interject though. I love the history between Owens and Zayn, even back to when it was Kevin Steen and El Generico. Even though people say
El
Generico died.
El Generico, no, he didn't die. He
saved orphans and died.
Orphans. I think
I love the running gag of making sure people know that El Generico passed away saving orphans in the fight.
Yeah.
but us real people know who El Generico is. But I just love the history between the two, and they always find ways to get back together.
They're still doing it now. Like tomorrow, it's gonna have like a huge impact. Probably also on the ladder match.
Yeah.
And on the Rumble match itself, it might be. Yeah. It's and here it's, this was really the point where the bloodline peaked until WrestleMania, where probably Cody should have won the title already at the first WrestleMania, but yeah, at least he won it last year's WrestleMania. But yeah, it's just, this match, the match itself is not a great wrestling match. They have a lot of cool spots in it, but it's the storytelling aspect, and it also like really shows how much Roman Reigns has grown since the time that he was the big dog. So that, when you let him cook, he will bring something like the aura, the charisma, like when he shows up. It's still nowadays, when you see Roman Reigns and he doesn't have the belt around his waist, you just think something is wrong. Something is missing in this picture.
He's seen him so long with the belt around his waist, it just don't look right.
It doesn't look right. And here the storytelling aspect, an aftermatch where they handcuffed Kevin Owens to the ropes, and they were like saying, Sammy, like, prove your loyalty, here's the chair, and he can't do it. And then Sami Zayn is getting the beat down treatment, and then you have, of course, the Usos like being split like about saying it's just this is for me number one because of the storytelling, because I do think that this Royal Rumble with the road to WrestleMania and the WrestleMania is the reason why WWE has the Netflix deal, why wrestling is in the mainstream again. And that this match is bigger than two fantastic Royal Rumble matches at the Royal Rumble. That's the reason for me why this is the number one singles Rumble match, because you just can't top it in this attention, in this hype, in having like one of the greatest storylines in wrestling at its peak. And the match itself is a very standard match, but it doesn't matter.
It's everything around that match.
Exactly, it's everything around it. It's
the whole
what
thing
this
with
match,
Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And
I don't even care about Sami Zayn.
And I definitely see your point. Like, for me personally, like, I thought the match was it was good and the story was great, but I just have a hard time putting something like that as high on my list, because it doesn't fit the aesthetic of how a match that
exactly.
I view. Like,
if I would just go by match quality itself, this would probably not be on my top 100 list. But
plus, like, the storyline afterward, it was great, but it was also like very drawn out. And I see this a lot with, especially in WWE storytelling, they like to draw things out to the point where it's like I get it. Just get to the point and get it over with.
And this is where I think this is where the bloodline peaked.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with you. And I felt like Cody should have won. And I remember the conversation at the time, like, man, Sammy should get that WrestleMania spot. Because the storyline was so strong that they like, man, Sammy should get the WrestleMania spot. Which is why they had the men's rumble earlier before that match. That match closed out the pay-per-view. Exactly. They did not close it with the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like and the Rumble matches were fantastic. But like this, in terms of attention, it just was bigger than the event itself. This was like an event on its own in the main event, and this is why I think it's the greatest Royal Rumble, spectacular as a singles match.
And we're not acknowledging the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view that happened. So that albatross. We're not acknowledging that. Okay, so that's our top list of.
We already 1 hour.
1 hour in, and we got through our top 5 matches that happened at the Rumble. Now we're getting into the big event of itself, the
top 5 Royal Rumbles.
And I'll go ahead and start. My number 5 is the 1990 Royal Rumble. I can watch this Rumble from beginning to end, and every beat, every storyline, every rivalry is touched upon on this Rumble. Everything that this Rumble sets up WrestleMania. You have the whole thing with Jake the Snake Roberts and $1 Million Man, who came out at number 1 after coming out number 30 in '89. And he lasted about 45 minutes. Iron Man performance of this Rumble. Jake the Snake came out at number 4, because $1 Million Man and Coco Beware started. Marty Jannetty was number 3, and Jake came out number 4. Already establishing that they were feuding. So again, it's like the storyline of $1 Million Man seeing Jake come out. Man, he was like, damn it, I gotta deal with my rival this early. Macho Man comes out. He's being paid off by $1 Million Man to help him out through the match. And then the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, come out and eliminate him. So early in the match, like, this is Macho Man coming out early. But yet it's establishing his rivalry with Dusty Rhodes.
Well, it beats the Macho Man eliminating himself and coming back nevertheless.
So he's like already like this storylines within the Rumble. The Colossal Connection, Andre the Giant and Haku were the tag team champions. And then you had the former champions, Demolition, come in. They had a rivalry. And Andre the Giant gets eliminated by Demolition. It's like a huge moment in the Rumble. Because everybody think, oh, Andre the Giant coming in, who can throw him out? So I love the storyline threads that goes on in the Rumble. And the Rumble never feels fulled up. Like it gets to like 8 guys and then it thins out to 6. Like the Rumble is not overcrowded. Because sometimes with a lot of these Rumbles, there's too many guys in there. And it's like, all right, you need to thin the herd.
Even Bobby Heenan asks what just happened because he lost the overview.
You know, so I just love this Rumble. And then the most important part of the Rumble was the showdown between the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. That was like the big mark-out moment for the fans.
Yeah, because this is like also, you know, what we're gonna probably talk in the Rumble later, where Vince also uses this, like, you know, like to get a taste what the audience wants. Like the reaction when you just have, like, you know, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan like staring at each other.
It was just fantastic.
Yeah, I would even go so far to say that this was the first real Royal Rumble, even though it was just for bragging rights.
I will agree, because it felt like everything that happened in this Rumble felt important. You got the emergence of Earthquake. He had a short run in it, but they made him look strong. You know, and it's like, yeah, that's going to be a future threat to the WWF. And it's just the little things that elevate people. Now, the only thing I will say is Mr. Perfect should have won this Rumble.
Yes. But we all know that why he didn't win.
We all know why.
Because a very special snowflake wanted like the Royal Rumble win.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
And we're gonna talk about the Royal Rumble later, where it shows that Hulk Hogan is one of the worst losers in history.
But yeah, I love the 1990 Rumble, and it's one of my favorite rewatches. Yeah. And to me, it's what modern Rumbles lack. It lacks proper storytelling of rivalries. Because this felt like a rivalry.
I do think that, having this back, which we're gonna talk later about the new Royal Rumble, I think they're having it back again. Thanks to Triple H. So, but we're gonna talk about it later. But this is basically this is where they developed the blueprint.
Yes. Like the '89 Rumble was good, but it had a weak latter half of it. But this match to me was perfect on how they established storylines.
Star packed, like.
Huh?
That was star packed.
Yes. And just the look at the I love the old school cover art boxes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I go to the video store and you see that, like, man, I'm renting that.
I'm still a big fan, of course, of all the Joe Chusco painted one from '92. Yes. That one was glorious, but this is the first real Rumble.
Yep. So that's my number 5.
You know that I am not a Stone Cold fan. I can't get into the character of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I just can't. I loved him as Stunning Steve, like it's from the Hollywood Blondes in WCW, but the Stone Cold character never worked for me. But there was one Royal Rumble where he had no chance in hell to win, because there was a $100,000 bounty on eliminating him. 1999.
Alright, so go on.
Number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Entry number 2, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon oiled up like he's coming straight from a P. Diddy party. he put oil on the oil, like he was oiled up like crazy. And this is like, for me, the Royal Rumbles that I picked, for me, in the Royal Rumble, the storytelling is so important. And this is like one of the interesting Rumbles where the stuff that went out, because Vince McMahon and Stone Cold immediately, got outside, of course, nobody eliminated, nobody was front row, so they wrestled through the whole arena. So the camera was at points, like not even on the Rumble, but like what happened backstage. And then the Vince had like this elaborate ruse that the corporation that they had they basically lured Stone Cold into the women's restroom, and then Stone Cold got attacked and he got a beat down. Stone Cold, like, ambulance is coming. Stone Cold going right to the ambulance, so Stone Cold apparently out, and the Royal Rumble continues, and there was like not even like at that moment, the Rumble was very, things just happened. Some storylines were developed. For example, when Mabel came in and he came out, and then the Ministry of Darkness took a hold of him outside. So this storyline turned into into him becoming like Viscera, I think. Then basically nothing really happens until Kane comes in. Kane cleans out the whole ring and eliminates himself. And this is actually then when the Rumble really started, because like Vince came back and pulled the ultimate boss move. He didn't go back in the ring. He got back on the commentary position and
Shamrock
Yeah.
came out at that time.
Shamrock came out and it's like you're not going in like are you not going in and fighting Shamrock? He's like, what, am I stupid? Like, so the ultimate boss movie, he's being there like cocky, and then they have like his camera on an ambulance coming back where it's like, of course, Stone Cold driving it, and you can see fantastic acting of Vince. That he looks like he's seeing a ghost. And and then the Rumble becomes just, he like on comment, because the storytelling was so great, because every inner thought of Vince we have witnessed because he was like on the commentary position. So we got a fantastic insight or parts of his head, not everything. not the worst things that probably happened in his head. And then it becomes like a story that, of course, $100,000 out there for anybody who is able to get the Stone Cold out. And of course, this Rumble was also with number 30, China entering as the first woman who ever entered through a Rumble. Sadly, being immediately eliminated by Stone Cold, which I think was.
She did throw out Mark Henry though.
Yeah, she did.
She had that storyline with Mark Henry going, so they paid that off.
Yeah, I still think that Mark Henry should have won the Royal Rumble in the 2000s. But yeah, it's should have had.
I'm gonna let you finish up on this because I got something to say.
Yeah, the probably that never a black person won a Royal Rumble.
No. On this Rumble particular, I got something to say.
Oh, but yeah, it's. And then in the end, then The Rock coming out, distracting Stone Cold, and Vince eliminating Stone Cold. And then you have, first of all, I love Vince in commentary. Whoever throws him out is like gonna get like $100,000 right out of Shane's trust. And then like he wins in
Not
the
his
ring.
own money.
Yeah, exactly. And in the ring, then you have celebrating Vince with Shane, and I think like this, and Pat Patterson and Jared Briscoe as if they have 1-2 celebrating with Vince.
Drinking beer and shit.
Yeah, it was just so epic.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
That Rumble is on the bottom of Royal Rumbles for me. I am not a fan of the 99 Rumble because it is the most Russo-rific Rumble ever. And I remember watching that Rumble when I ordered the pay-per-view, and I'm like, it's the finish I didn't have a problem with. It's just the structure of that first half of the Rumble.
Yeah, the Rumble really starts with the half.
Yeah, Austin gets taken out, and it's just a whole bunch of nothingness. A bunch of guys coming in there fighting, and then the ring gets cleared multiple times, and there's nothing going on. And like you said, it really starts when Vince come back out.
But what is good is it's just so good. And
I just felt. And see, and my problem with this and the 98 Rumble, I like the 98 Rumble, but Austin has a target on him. He had a target on him. He was a marked man in the 98 Rumble, and he had the $100,000 bounty on him in this Rumble. Yet there was no really conceited effort to say, let's throw this motherfucker out and get the money. And it felt like nobody was really trying to eliminate Austin.
I do think that Val Venus and the Big Boss Man.
That was it. Like they all should have just said, "Fuck it, let's split the money and toss this guy out." Dude, if this had any proper sense, they would have said, "We need to make Austin pay for all his shenanigans and make it feel important." Like, yeah, everybody is trying to go after him, as opposed to just one here, one there, another there, and then it's just like they go back to fighting each other.
But like I said, Vince is just so entertaining, and this is why I love to rewatch it. And also the other thing is that this is where Vince got his theme song, "No Chance in Hell."
Yes,
Because it is just such a masterpiece that
it's a classic song.
It's a classic song, and
No
alone for birthing that song, it's one of the most influential Royal Rumbles in history.
It fits so perfectly for Vince because he was the boss.
Because the thing is, he doesn't even come out with it because it was not his theme. It was just the theme of the event, but it plays in the end.
And like I said, it just makes sense. Like every time you hear that opening riff, it's like, oh, here comes Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But like I said, the Rumble itself is just. I only watch it for that second half, but even then, it's like it's just not a favorite.
I absolutely get it. But for me, the thing is, like,
I like that it's a favorite for you.
Yeah.
And you explained it, and it to me, like I said,
yeah, it's absolutely wrong.
It's all opinionated, and
exactly.
It's different.
But for me, it's actually different. It is like something that stands out, and I love to rewatch, and especially the moment that Vince comes back on commentary is just excellent.
Yeah.
So, what's your number 4?
My number 4, it follows one of my favorite Rumbles, but it's damn good in itself. The 2005 Royal Rumble.
I think that Rumble had the better promo package. It's just for me. I mean, of course, like Vince blowing out both of them.
But I just love the structure of it. I love the whole SmackDown versus Raw battle.
It's something I absolutely get, but there's the one thing where I can't have it on the list because it ushers in the era of Cena and it stands against everything that I stand for.
Let's be real here, though. But I'll be real. As much as we dislike that era of Cena, he wasn't as hated as he was during that 2003.
Yeah, absolutely. But like in retrospective.
In retrospective, we look at it and like, man, I hated the change of his character.
Yeah. Objectively, this is one of the best Royal Rumbles ever. The only thing why it's not on my list is because I am very petty in my dislike for John Cena.
But he didn't win it.
I know he didn't win it, but still. But it's like it was like the changing of the guard, and it started the Cena era. And
even though with the way it finished, they could have went with co-winners because they both challenged for the belt anyway.
Yeah, but the thing was that this was not booked.
I know it wasn't booked that way,
but the way they went both out at the same time, it's like if you plan it, only Bret Hart can pull it off, which we're gonna talk about later.
But I love this Rumble because of the background of it. The complete reveal of Daniel Puder, as bully as it was. That shit was
crazy. That was. You know when you basically. That was almost like a snuff film. Like you're putting like hazing a person on pay-per-view.
that shit was not good. But at the same time, just imagine if Kurt Angle came out after Hardcore Holly. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was like, but it's also like a very interesting footmark in wrestling history.
This is also the Rumble that started the Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels feud, which led to that awesome match at WrestleMania. You know, but the theme of this Rumble is the development of the new stars. Batista was on a roll at this point. He was still part of Evolution, but he was getting that fan support, especially after Orton was losing
the title. Like, which was bad booking.
It was, and he got beat by Triple H at this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was really because like after Orton, after after the feud with Mick Foley, always fuck. And then the good thing is like Orton survived it and is one of the biggest legends in the sport.
The thing I would have had Orton dethrone Triple H when he became the champion after beating Benoit.
Yeah.
But they had to go back to Triple H, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I'm sick of Triple
H. They did it better with Batista.
Yeah, they did it much better with Batista.
Yeah.
And of course, that shot right there, George Sinitsky clotheslining Paul London to the pop of the night with that oversell.
And the other thing is, like, he also clotheslined him on the bottom of the card.
Vince McMahon was not happy with that.
He was not happy that he got himself over, and which is sad because it was a fantastic spot.
It was a fantastic bump.
It is, and it really shows how petty backstage politics are in wrestling.
I was like, man, he went all out with that bump.
Yeah.
And instead you're gonna punish him because of it? I was like, yo, you gave the bump of the night, man. We're gonna give you the cruiserweight title and do all things, but nah, you punished him, man. It sucked.
Yeah.
And I liked the Paul London during his Ring of Honor days. So for him to get this shot just to get buried after that was like,
yeah, it basically showed him that there was a very much for him a glass ceiling.
But yeah, the ending with Batista and Cena going over the top rope together, perfect landing.
Yeah. It's like
Vince
really
McMahon
perfect
on his quads.
And at this point, really, everything goes. And the crazy thing is, like, something goes wrong, but it went wrong so right. Exactly the same. It's like I've watched this so often. It's like you really can't tell who hit it first.
Yeah,
and then Vince coming out, power walking, getting in the ring, blowing both his quads, and sitting.
It's classic, man. Like I said, it's a great Royal Rumble. It's a great follow-up to the
objectively, it should be in my list, but it's just like what it stands for. It's like I'm very petty.
You buy as petty as Vince McMahon towards Paul London.
Yeah.
All right, so your number 4.
My number 4 is the Royal Rumble from 2002. Just because of Forrest said, it's like this event was just so much fun, and also here, like right in the beginning, it just feels until Stone Cold comes in, it just feels like a big party, except if you're Maven. That was
hey, that was one of the best surprising, shocking moments of the whole. Like the first portion of that Rumble, it was okay. Undertaker coming in and destroying everybody. And it's like, yo, who's gonna stop the Undertaker? And when Maven came out, he's like, oh man.
But let's just say that fucking chair shot that he got from Taker, that was really to test him. And that was gnarly.
And when Maven appeared on 6 Feet Under with Taker to talk about it, that was a great conversation.
In general, Maven has one of the best YouTube channels about wrestling.
Yeah.
And he also talked about this Rumble, of course, like a lot, because this was his big moment where, like, Undertaker, I think himself said, he's like, hey, you're gonna eliminate me, like, in the Rumble.
And see, that shows how Undertaker's mindset, like, I don't need to, do my thing. Because he could have just politicked his way and said, no, that's not going to happen. Like,
yeah.
I'll let this happen. He told Maven, hey, make sure you hit me good enough where I can sell it and fall out. And Damien decapitated himself because he got caught on that.
And when Maven can do something right, that his drop kicks are excellent.
Yeah, and that spot was so good that they try and play it off at the next year Rumble when Maven said, oh, I got him again. And Undertaker, nope, he tossed him out.
Secret highlight of the 2002 Rumble is almost the Godfather running out of hose to come out.
that was a great return in itself.
Like I said, this felt just like a big party. You know, everybody had so much fun, except for maybe after the chair shot and going for the popcorn.
And this is why this truly do feel like a swan song for the Attitude Era. You know, the return of Val Venus and Godfather coming out with all his escorts, as they say. You know, it definitely felt like the Attitude Era's last hurrah.
Yeah, and then like mid-rumble, things like really got serious, and you had like already, it just like really big stars coming out. You had also like very nice surprises and like stars from WCW, of course, because it was no more DDP in there, which DDP got eliminated when the camera was not even on the ring. But yeah, later it's also that Mr. Perfect coming back. He looked so fantastic, and he was in the last 4 of this Royal Rumble. So also Mr. Perfect should have won at least one Royal Rumble. Like, but yeah, he was fantastic, and the thing I was looking forward to most, which they probably should have been an entire feud. When Mr. Perfect came in, and then Kurt Angle came in, and you had greatness.
I love when Kurt Angle came out and the "You Suck" chants was in unison with the music. Like those 4 carried the last half of that Rumble, because once Kurt Angle got in, that was like in the early 20s. That was the final 4 of the whole show of the Rumble match. You know, Big Show and Kane came out. They got eliminated. Yeah. Then RVD and Booker T came out. And Booker T.
It also the first Booker Rumble, which is, of course, as a WCW mark. Like Booker T is always close to my heart.
And this was during the time we had that little storyline with Steve Austin where he got chased in the grocery store and beat up there.
It is another reason why I don't like Stone Cold.
But, you know, Booker T eliminates RVD, which I was a bit sour on, because like fuck, RVD came in like a house of fire, got pedigreed by Triple H, and then Booker T comes in.
I mean, also, of course, you know that before like Stone Cold, clears the ring and is waiting, and then number 22, time to play the game, and Triple H coming after his injury.
That took up the entire 2 minutes of the
size of a truck. Like he choosed himself like a lot, which I don't criticize. I'm a big bodybuilding fan, so choose himself up, go in, I love it. But like he looked huge, and the pops that he got, like I said, it was a big party. Everybody went crazy, and
even Hurricane had his little moment.
It is funny, and it's really like one of these cases where I was so happy that Triple H won it. Still, something in me was like, Mr. Perfect should have got it.
Yeah, but like, man, Mr. Perfect, I loved his entrance. Came out, throw his towel, and spit his gum out while he was in the ring. I was like, man.
The only thing that could have topped that would have been if he would have sung Rap is Crap. West Texas Redneck, that didn't work. If he would be still alive, I really wish they really have to do a West Texas Redneck figure of Mr. Perfect. I want. I like country music. I like country.
The only reason, like, as great as we described this Rumble, the only reason it's not in my top 5 is because the Rumble, the dead spots in it, and it doesn't really like feel like a Rumble because it's the minimal amount of guys. Like, I feel like it's a Rumble, but at the same time, not a lot is going on, especially before Austin comes in.
Yeah, but it's a party. Like before that, like it's just so much.
Yeah,
it really feels as a party, and you're invited, and this is why I love it. Even before Austin comes in, nothing of substance matters. Like, but it's just like
there was a stretch where Christian and Chuck Palumbo was dominating the Rumble. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, somebody should have given like
and another thing, Goldust
somebody should have given Chuck a 2-minute warning.
Goldust returned in this Rumble.
Oh yeah, and
he started out with Rikishi
because until the end, everybody lies in gold glitter because they didn't spare any expenses on the gold glitter.
Yeah, like
and Dustin was in shape, right?
Yeah, he was. But yeah, it still is an enjoyable Rumble, and it didn't make my top 5, but it's one of those Rumbles that I can watch, and like the more you think about it, it is like the swan song for the Attitude Era.
It's fun. It's just fun. Like the whole 2002 Rumble, it's just so enjoyable. You're watching it, and this is like just nothing about it is perfect, but everything together makes it my second favorite Rumble.
It would have been perfect had Mr. Perfect won it, but that's just too perfect.
Yeah, naturally.
Alright, so my number 3 Rumble is another Rumble. It's controversy because of who won it, but we talked about him earlier. The 2004 Royal Rumble. You talk about a master class of booking a Rumble.
Yeah.
Chris Benoit.
That would have been my number 6 spot.
Just outside the top 5.
That was my number 6 spot. I was just like, I wanted to put it in, but everything else on my list was just resonated this week more with me.
But this Rumble to me is and this Rumble also showed how strong to book the Big Show. Because he sucked for majority of his run in the WWF. But they made him look like a monster in this Rumble.
The Giant at WCW main eventer, Big Show mid-card.
Mid-card. But here, he felt like the Giant.
Yeah.
Because they made him look like a Giant. And it's realistic booking to say, how the fuck can we eliminate this guy?
And at least they didn't have Gilbert there.
Well, we had Goldberg in there.
Yeah.
And his spear, the Nunzio, is like top tier spears of all time. Yeah. But the booking of Benoit in this match.
By the way, Nunzio is still fucking in shape. He had he was at NXT a few weeks ago, and he was also at GCW. When GCW was in the Hammerstein Ballroom, he still got it.
Still got the same look. It's like he barely aged.
Yeah.
But yeah, the booking of Chris Benoit, where Paul Heyman made him number 1, and Benoit had all the odds stacked against him. But
just let me say that when we're gonna do the WrestleMania show later this year, there's no way that Eddie and Chris celebrating to get in the ring it's not gonna be on our list. There's like no way.
It sucks, man. But that moment will forever be tarnished.
Sadly.
But this right here, man, like I love this Rumble. The storyline in it was great. Even the little comedy spot with Ernest the Cat Member was like, it was ridiculous. And I like how JR just was like, this guy's nobody and stuff. And then Kurt Angle comes out afterwards, like, finally some real competition. Randy Orton was also booked strong in this match. He came out number 2. And then you had Mick Foley came out later on to eliminate Randy Orton. I just love how the way they structured this Rumble, and it really, like, this is how, again, when you book a solid Rumble and have a nice storyline throughout it, you can really make these Rumbles stand out.
Exactly. And on any other day, maybe this would have been, for me, like above the 1999 Royal Rumble, but it just Vince made the cut today.
But yeah, that's my number 3 or what? Yeah, number 3.
My number 3 takes us back into the time right before the new generation started like to really suck. But this was still one of the glorious Royal Rumbles. And I also think one that I think this Royal Rumble uh, gave like was like one of the last Rumbles that really gave a spot in there that we're still talking today, which is like the Diesel spot.
Yeah.
Like of a wrestler that comes in and eliminates a lot of wrestlers and gets pushed there off.
That
Diesel
spot in the '94 Rumble really saved him.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna talk about the 1994 Royal Rumble, where basically the Rumble had like 2 parts. It has like the whole storyline with Diesel and of course like Shawn Michaels being the little rat that he is. And then later of course having Bret Hart coming already injured in from the tag team match earlier on the card, and Lex Luger coming injured in because he was attacked by the Great Kabuki and the Yokozunas like Stooge. Yeah. So yeah, Royal Rumble 1994. I think that the introduction of the Diesel spot, and that this was actually the point where the new generation could have still worked. And also what I love was about it. This is more Rumble that I had in there because I think it's so important in terms how to book a Rumble. If you would have booked this Rumble with any card before or maybe 10 years later, this could have been like a number 1 Rumble because the booking was so strong. It was just at that point that the star power was still a little bit there, but not quite there. But yeah, like it said in the end, like the whole booking that at that point, Vince wanted to go with Lex Luger because he just never could get over that Bret Hart is not a muscle-bound freak, and yet the audience is wanting like to have Bret in the top spot, and then Vince, of course, because money is still king, that he's like having his thoughts about it. And it's like, let's have them both win, and then let's let the audience decide for whom to cheer more.
I felt like Luger should have never turned babyface to begin with.
It was a whole mistake because it was just so rapidly pushed. Lex was not ready for it because when we see later, especially with Lex Luger in WCW, when Eric Bischoff thought that he was getting like a dud and he just gave him the worst offer, and then Lex blew up again and he became so over with the fans to the point when he won the title that this was glorious, and he always had the potential. It's just Vince booked him too fast into a character that from the narcissist to the all-American, it was just not believable. So he was dealt like a really bad hand, and it also really, when you watch this Rumble and you see in the end that, both basically got out at the same time, which was planned and which was very well executed, also very well thought through, that they wanted to happen like, that it doesn't happen in the hard cam. So in case it goes wrong, they just say like, hey, they went out at the same time, we don't have the footage. But Bret, how he hooked him in, so it was just like, they really went out perfectly at the same time, and also came at the bottom at the same time. And afterwards, that when the referee raised the hand of Lex Luger and they were like boozing the audience, and Bret were going in the rope, and the fans were going crazy, that at that point you can see in Lex Luger's faces, I'm fucked.
And here's the thing. The fans knew how hard Bret worked. And he got screwed at the WrestleMania against Yokozuna. So especially with what happened
Without
with Hogan. So
it's not. We're gonna talk about some petty Hulk Hogan later again.
So it's like the fans really wanted Bret back in the title picture.
Yeah.
Whereas half the audience really felt that Luger's turn was babyface turn was forced.
Lex
it was forced.
He did get some pops, Lex.
He got pops,
but he didn't get the Bret pops.
The fans just loved Bret more. He was the natural guy. That was the guy.
And that's the thing. When you see like in this Rumble, like before, when Diesel eliminated 7 people, he was a heel at that point, and the crowd popped like crazy. This is the natural progression that you want.
And on top of that, we witnessed the Owen Hart turn early on in that tag match where Owen just kicked Bret's leg out of his leg.
Yeah.
So it's like the fans were way more sympathetic to Bret than they were to Luger. They tried to put that sympathetic on Luger by saying he got attacked backstage.
And by the way, that
didn't measure up to Bret being attacked by his own brother.
By the way, that tag team match would have been in my top 10 list if they had a top 10 list.
Yeah, that was a really good tag match. Even though in terms of Bret Owen tag matches, that Steiner match is
I know, but I think for story purpose that this ushered in the also probably one match that we're gonna have in the top WrestleMania match.
Yes, you know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the '94 Rumble it's a pretty fun Rumble to watch, and the finish was well executed. And I will say that Final Four with Fatu and Shawn Michaels involved.
Yeah, and like also like that, and also like the like that really like Shawn Michaels also like he was like had like the main event in reaching position at that point, which of course with the WrestleMania ladder match later, he's going there. It's really I think for what they had at that point, they couldn't have done a more perfect Rumble. And how much this Rumble adds to the blueprints of later Rumbles is for me the mixture of the nostalgia, the enjoyment of a fantastically booked Rumble, and the impact that it had on future Rumbles with the Diesel spot. I think this is why for me it's the number 3.
And it's also the final Royal Rumble appearance of the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah.
When he came out during that Diesel run, that was like, oh, the Diesel run is over because Macho Man showed up.
Yeah.
And it felt like a big moment, when Macho came out. And for this to be his final Royal Rumble, it was technically the end of the golden era and that new generation going full board.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is a Rumble that Stone Cold Steve Austin won. The 2001 Royal Rumble. And many
also
people
shout out to I think one of the last painted Rumble posters. We gotta bring them back.
Yes. But there's an argument going that Kane should have won this Rumble. Because he was a monster in this Rumble. 11 eliminations. The man.
And that's the thing that basically Kane, he didn't create the Diesel spot, hence Diesel spot, but he's like the person who had like the most times the Diesel spot, and he still I think has the most eliminations.
Yeah. Well, in terms of single Rumble, Roman Reigns surpassed the single number.
I know, but altogether,
Kane altogether still has
altogether, yeah.
But this one, in my opinion, like the Roman thing was fine, but I feel like the performance from Kane in this Rumble was top tier, and he did it where you had a hardcore section with Raven, Al Snow, Steve Blackman. This is like the hardcore Rumble, and then you had your mid-card guys coming in there trying to do damage, and The Rock came in early, so you had 2 main eventers in there with those guys, and then that last half with Undertaker and Stone Cold and Rikishi coming in at number 30. I thought again another well-structured Rumble,
Yeah.
and it throughout the Rumble it just stays entertaining. Now, of course, you had your little Drew Carey celebrity spot. You had the Honky Tonk Man return to get bashed, and it was a really good Attitude Era Rumble that was won by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I think that one for me is not in my top 5. Just because it was 2001. In 2001, I had other problems with WCW. So 2001 was a year where I was really pissed at wrestling. So I don't have good memories about that wrestling year.
But yeah, I just love the Rumble and the whole thing. Like the Brothers of Destruction running roughshod was great, and I really think that this was the first Rumble that really showed Undertaker and Kane in the Rumble at the same time.
Yeah, it was my jealousy Rumble. It's like, why you motherfuckers so good? I want to watch WCW.
and it really do suck, that we lost WCW and ECW around that same time.
I do have to say that nowadays I'm just so happy that we have GCW. And GCW is really what ECW could have been. ECW would have never went, never say never with Paul Heyman handling finances, but like ECW, if streaming would have been a thing back in the day, ECW would have not went under.
So yeah, the 2001 Rumble is my number 2. So what is yours?
My number 2 is from the 2023 Royal Rumble, which actually took the storyline from the 1995 Royal Rumble, but here had a stacked roster with Rhea Ripley being the fucking hottest at that time is the Women's Rumble from 2023, where it just really felt that you could not get into your Instagram feed without seeing Rhea Ripley's ass. Or it's, and everything, she's hot, everything aside, she's a once in a generation superstar. And this is where she was still heel and she's still fucking over. But this was when everybody was just longing for her to win this Rumble. And the story of her coming in with number 1, being already, like Liv Morgan coming in number 2. So basically, and they're lasting until the end with Liv and with Rhea. So basically the same storyline they had in 1995 with British Bulldog and Shawn Michaels. Only that here they had a fantastic women's roster and we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel. That in this, Rhea Ripley coming in number 1, being already injured because she very well deservedly got a spear by the Glamazon Beth Phoenix like before. And that she's pulling through, and the whole other storytelling, they had a fantastic storytelling with Damage Control.
That's right.
Yeah, and Becky Lynch at this point, she was still over and did not yet overstay her welcome, which I think happened like the next year where she really needed that break because she was a little bit too omnipresent. And also another thing, that here, like Chelsea Green coming back, and which I would fucking freak out if Matt Cardona would have a guest for tomorrow. He's of course in Indianapolis because GCW has an event in a few minutes in Indianapolis. So there's never say never, it's wrestling. But I really hope Matt Cardona is gonna have a Rumble spot tomorrow.
might.
He might, yeah.
But if you give me the choice, him or Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry.
I think that Joe Hendry is 100% there. That would be, even though it's a little cooling down in TNA, but I still think that with the whole partnership, I mean, if Marsha Slamovich would come out, I would also lose it because she's one of the strongest female wrestlers in wrestling right now.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? That was a pretty... That out of the women Rumble matches, I thought that was the best one out of the ones that we had.
And also basically Asuka is having like her first Rumble after the one I think she won in 2018, 19. Like, and the finish, the booking, that Asuka won in the spray, the mist on Rhea ducking, and Liv is getting the mist, and Asuka's eliminated, and Liv hits like the Oblivion outside on Rhea almost going down, and then Rhea taking the head scissors and throwing out Liv, which, by the way, let me quote a very nice meme with Nimitz. Should have been me.
It should have been me.
It should have been me. I wanna get head scissors by Rhea. Should have been me. But yeah, this is also like this Rumble is so fun, and the men's Rumble would have also been in my top 10 list. The 2023 men's Rumble would also have been. The only thing, of course, like Gunther is getting like the Iron Man spot and the Diesel spot in that one basically. So like,
and he lost to Cody.
He lost to Cody just in the end, and you even got a fantastic like Cody Gunther match in the end. The only reason why it's not in my top 5 is because I think the Rumble means less because Cody didn't win the title at the Rumble.
Yeah.
This retrospectively made the Rumble mean less, if you get me. Which, of course, while here, Rhea going to WrestleMania and having, like, in my opinion, also the best WrestleMania match on the card against Charlotte.
And I was glad that she beat Charlotte, because I remember being upset when Charlotte beat her for the when Rhea was NXT champion, women's champion.
I think that like in the long run,
I was like, why did they have Charlotte go to NXT to beat Rhea when Rhea just came off that victory over Shayna? So I was glad that Rhea got her back.
Because as you can see in the back, she's the queen. And I hope she's going to win the Rumble tomorrow.
Queen. I did not like that booking decision of her beating Rhea when she was the NXT Women's Champion. Yeah. So I was glad that.
But I think it worked out in the long run, so that he had like the rematch. So it even gave this match like it was more personal, and the match was just fantastic.
Yeah.
That probably maybe even be my top 10 WrestleMania list. We're gonna see. That's gonna be a tough list for me.
Yeah, I know, man. I already know. I'm probably not even gonna look at the old list I made. I'm gonna scrap that and probably go do a whole new list.
But yeah, that Women Rumble is also one that I'm rewatching basically every year.
So that's your number 2.
That's number 2, and I think we know what the number 1 is. With a tear in my eye. Yeah.
Greatest Royal Rumble ever. From beginning to end.
Yeah.
Ric Flair carries this thing. And he basically sees everybody he fought in the 80s. All the newcomers in the 90s.
I mean, just the point coming out, Kerry von Erich going to Ric Flair. Straight to Ric Flair.
I mean, like, this Rumble was so damn good. All because of Ric Flair.
Yes. You can't beat this Rumble. It's perfect. It's 10 out of 10. And also the great thing that what I love about it, because for me it's also 2 halves. And Ric Flair is part of both halves, which makes it so strong. That the first half is you have a lot of new talent. The British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels, and with Ric Flair have fantastic chemistry in the ring. And then the moment that Roddy Piper gets in, you're getting like all the big hitters.
And even in that first half, you had
Kerry Von Erich.
Eric, you know, you had Greg the Hammer
Roberts.
Valentine, who
Jake the Snake Roberts.
You had Jake was second half, but Kevin.
He didn't really come in first half. But...
No, he came after Roddy Piper.
Okay.
But Greg the Hammer Valentine and Flair had history in the NWA in the summer. So and they came topping each other, man.
Yeah, and this combined with probably one of the best commentaries in history, you know, Bobby Heenan, Monsoon, which is like the you can't beat that, and this is not fair for Flair.
Not fair to Flair.
Fair.
That was the calling card for the entire Rumble. Bobby Heenan commentated his ass off, man.
Yeah.
Like, I would do that to my grandmother if I have to.
Yeah. Now, please let Flair win. I will never do a bad thing in my life again.
And then when Roddy Piper saved Flair from Jake Roberts, they're like, it's a kill. Not a skirt, it's a kill. But then when Roddy attacked Ric Flair, it's a skirt. Not a kill, a skirt. It's
just glorious. This is just a moment in time where you still had everything that was good about the 80s, with so much talent in there that would have become great in the 90s.
Yeah, it was just like the perfect mixture of all the 80s wrestlers who were great in their own territories, and then the incoming flux of 90s wrestling.
It's so star-packed. It's like really
Even the Big Boss Man had a great short run because he came out like a house of fire.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, Mr. Perfect not even in the match, but his presence alone when he came out with Flair.
The Undertaker had a run. Like Macho Man, you know.
I mean, just a moment, you know, when Undertaker had Flair in his grasp and Heenan was shouting in, it's over, no, it's over, this is it.
He was like, oh, no. He was crying. I was like, yo. I like when Heenan was so frustrated and stuff. He like, hey, you, give me a glass of water.
And every time, you know, this is like one of these cases. I know that Flair wins, but the moment Hogan comes in, it's always like, I'm afraid that he might throw him out like on purpose. Like that one spot, you know, like at the apron, where I'm like, 100% at that moment, Hulk was probably thinking about shooting on him.
And then another underrated aspect on this was the whole feud that was going on between Jake the Snake Roberts and Macho Man.
Yeah, because that was like, you know, as you can notice that like every time that the horn sounds and Jake the Snake is looking nervous out if the Macho Man will come in.
Yeah, and then when Macho Man made a beeline, Jake slithered out like a snake.
And Macho Man jumps over the front rope.
And then Macho Man, he threw after he eliminated Jake Roberts, he jumped over the top rope, which wasn't
then they had to immediately, they had like retrospectively changed the rules that if you can't eliminate yourself, which is only this Rumble was apparently a rule, but otherwise, like instead of this macho brain fart.
But Jake the Snake came back out after he got eliminated by the Andre the Giant, threw the snake in the ring, and Andre eliminated himself.
It is what it is, but like, and of course, like you see the Joe Chusco poster.
But this in the '91 Rumble, he did the poster. It's fantastic.
And as we know, as a big Sarasota of Conan fans, we love Joe Chusco.
Yeah, like, I would love to like get this poster and put it on the wall.
Yeah.
But man, the star power in this, and of course, the greatness, the master and ruler of the world, Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid. He was robbed.
He was absolutely robbed, and I don't know what the booking there was, if it was booked, but anyway, Hogan, like when after Sid eliminated Hogan,
Legally.
he didn't even Hogan. I wouldn't even see that he seemed petty. He seemed like a crying girl that didn't get her wish. Like the moment that he was out there, like, oh, he eliminated me, I'm Hulk Hogan. I won the last 2 Rumbles. I should have also won this one. And afterward, after Ric Flair won the Rumble, he shooshed him out the ring, of course, because he had to be center stage again.
Like, this is why when you watch the '89 Rumble, Bossman and Akeem eliminate Hogan from the Rumble clean. Like, they just threw him out. And Hogan ringside complaining, crying.
Yeah.
And he caused Bossman to get eliminated, and he beats him up on the way to the back.
He's like, and it's the thing is like, is something doing him dirty, booking him like that, or is he really such a bad loser, like such a special? Yeah, he's such a special snowflake. It's like, I mean, even like when he put the Warrior over, he basically celebrated like he was like center stage celebrating because he just can't get out of the spotlight.
Not only that, he deliberately eliminated the Ultimate Warrior because Rude and Barbarian had Warrior over the rope, and Hogan just came and hit all of them, and Warrior went out. He didn't save the Warrior.
Yeah, and it's just like
same thing with Macho Man. Bad News Brown had Macho Man on the ropes. Hogan just tossed Bad News, and Macho fell out.
Yeah. Probably had lust. He had lust in his eyes. Hogan.
Well, like the more you look at it, like Hogan, man, you gotta eliminate it. Go your ass to the back and let Sid have his moment.
I love Hulk Hogan. Despite him being who he is, but it's just. It's like a train wreck at certain points, and this is one of this where he, like, however you want to pull this, he doesn't look favorable. How he acted when he was in the ring.
The fact that they had to like mute some of the live audience on the VHSs and stuff, because they were cheering for Sid.
Yes.
They were cheering for Sid. And
who's the man?
Like, and I always said this. We talked about it at the Survivor Series, with Sid. Sid wasn't the best promo, but he had the look, the intensity, and the charisma, physical charisma. That like, you just want to root for this man.
Yeah, it is like really for him. It would have been better if he never spoken a word. Just stand there and be him.
Yeah, and just look menacing.
Yeah.
Because that's what got him over in the NWA WCW was just the look and his presence. Like, he didn't have to say a word, but the fans was like, yo, this dude is awesome.
Just go in there, wreak havoc and powerbomb somebody.
So Ric Flair wins this match thanks to Hogan, and then we get one of the greatest promos afterwards. And it's
Tear in my eye. This is the greatest day of my life.
And it was a culmination of everything that was built up when he first came in the company as the alleged true
world champion. It's so close. And wasn't it also that basically the interview was not planned at the end? And I think that Vince was actually angry that he got himself so over in the interview.
How can you be mad at somebody like a Ric Flair?
Yeah.
He's good to put himself over. He's a champion.
His Ric Flair, you could put him in a potato rack and he would have gotten himself over.
But yeah, greatest Rumble.
Yeah.
One highlight I would like to mention is that Roddy Piper winning the Intercontinental title. early on the show,
Yeah.
and competing in the Royal Rumble. Just makes it even better.
Yeah, and he was like long time in there, and he was an active part of the Rumble. Yeah, Rowdy. It's. But yeah, that's the greatest. That's the greatest Royal Rumble in history.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
And I don't think you can beat it, because you will the roster today, not only in WWE, like the immense talent that is out there in wrestling is fantastic, but the personalities that you had in this period, you just can't copy. This was just a very special moment in time. And with the 1992 Royal Rumble, the title is vacant. It's just because it was also the first Rumble that had stakes.
Yes. And I think because of this Rumble, it led to next year saying, we need to add some stakes and say the winner of the Rumble gets a title shot at WrestleMania.
Yeah. This is the Rumble,
and I will say, honorable mention. I didn't even the year Roman Reigns defended the title at the Royal Rumble. Like, the title was on the line in the Rumble match. The only notable thing about that Rumble for me was AJ Styles' debut.
Mr. TNA.
Mr. TNA. And the anticipation was very high. But the match itself ended with Triple H becoming the champ was like,
It's like, it's
and Roman wasn't even in the whole match. He started number one. They took him out midway. And
it was not well. It was not well booked.
Yeah,
and it would not have been in my top 10 list.
No. I just want to say, I just wanted to bring it up honorably because that was the only other Rumble that had the title on the line.
I really feel that hopefully in the next 3 Rumbles they should have a vacant title to win again, I believe.
Yeah, to me, it can work if you book it right.
Of course, you have now the difficulty with SmackDown and Raw. That probably, if a SmackDown title is on the line, you probably nobody from Raw higher up wins. But also, it would be a great way to get somebody to like SmackDown or Raw or something. But yeah, I think this is like we are at the point where like a Rumble for a vacant title would be sexy again.
Yeah, but nothing will top 92.
Yeah.
To me, that was the pinnacle of the golden era of wrestling. That the from WrestleMania 1 all the way to that point, golden era, that was the peak of it. And it's still a shame we didn't get Hogan versus Flair at that WrestleMania. Because it should have happened.
Yeah, but Hogan.
Yeah, we know Hogan. And it would have been a predictable outcome anyway.
I mean, even like the fucking video game where the Super Nintendo had Hogan, and the Genesis had Flair. You couldn't have them together even on the same cartridge. Like, come on!
It sucked. But man, that great discussion, man. I'm ready for the Royal Rumble tomorrow night.
Who do you have winning?
It's always like a tough choice to see who wins.
But it's a big...
Here's the thing: as long as Cena don't win, I'm fine.
Yeah, if Cena wins the route.
It will be interesting if they go the route of CM Punk winning.
A lot of people speculating it, but I think the great thing with tomorrow's Rumble, in the last years, I think there always was like a clear choice. Last year, 100%, Bayley is gonna win her Rumble. Cody probably win like his Rumble to get his way back again to WrestleMania. The year before, Cody was hot, Rhea was hot. It was like very clear. I think the year before was also where it's like Bianca had to win it, and even forgot who won the match. But I think it was like the last years, it was very predictable. But this year,
it feels unpredictable.
it feels very unpredictable. Like
I say Punk, but they can go another route.
Because let's face it, they don't have anything for WrestleMania right now, like really locked in. I mean, all the people, of course, speculating like The Rock coming out at number 31.
Man, like I said, I'm still a bit disappointed with the Rock situation in that he came out at the Netflix Raw as a babyface, and then it's like there's no follow up to anything that he did last year.
I actually, I think it might work for the character. I don't know if they go the route. If they would go it, probably Rock would say, "Oh, that was always the plan." Like the whole WrestleMania documentary. But I still think that could work. So basically, that The Rock, like in front of the camera, in front of like basically the money, like Netflix, he's putting on like the nice face, while backstage he's like,
still in final boss mode.
Still the final boss. So I think it could work in that way to having like really as this two-face corporate Rock. Hey,
we go back to corporate Rock now. I mean, since he's final boss, he's like now he runs the show.
Yeah, and this could really be, like that basically is like basically Cena wins and he's like bullshit. It's not gonna happen. I'm number 31, and you know why? Because I'm on the fucking board of directors.
That'd be some high class cheating right there. Hey, quick thoughts. Triple H in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I mean, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. In so many ways. The thing is, because if he would go now into the Hall of Fame, it would feel like he's putting himself in the Hall of Fame.
That's what it feels like. But
yeah, I mean, he deserves it. Which is actually so sad because Vince McMahon should be in the Hall of Fame and he didn't put himself, because it's like if you don't put him, probably he didn't want to put himself in the Hall of Fame. I really hope one day,
hell, The Rock is the boss and he didn't even put himself in the Hall of Fame yet.
Yeah, I still think that Triple H is gonna be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think until he may step down from any for the position, or I think this might gonna take a while, because that basically right now that the decision maker, like he's basically he's like head of content, so the way that he also puts himself into the focus is not only because he's currently like really cooking and having like a good he has like a good standing with the audience, but also because it's his best job guarantee when he's basically making the product himself, like it's like a package deal.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, he deserves it though.
He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he will be in the Hall of Fame, and it's I still think the next 10 years, like I think it would be a tragedy if Vince McMahon would not be in the Hall of Fame. Which I think Eric Bischoff said so funnily, that like Heyman and Eric Bischoff made the Hall of Fame of WWE, but Vince not.
Like I said, if he had the foresight of what was going to happen, he should have put himself in a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Like, announcing new inductee for the Hall of Fame, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. That's how he will announce it.
He should have done it when he was feuding against Shawn Michaels and God.
Yeah. So yeah, great discussion.
Yeah.
Next month, which starts tomorrow, we'll be doing our Black History discussion, and we're going to talk this film, Blue Collar.
Haven't seen that one yet. Looking very much forward to it.
And it definitely focuses a lot on the corruption of unions. And considering what's going on in America, corruption runs rampant.
And who killed the wrestling union? Also Hulk Hogan, because he rented out Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, and Hulk Hogan said, "I'm not showing up for Saturday night's main event."
Yeah, because he had like some family business.
Yeah, that just came out.
I would, just imagine Hulk getting out, getting booed, and having Jesse Ventura on.
Just chewing it up.
Just like Bobby Heenan smiles from heaven. You know what else I got today, which I'm looking forward to watching? The Great Silence on 4K.
Oh, nice!
Just came out. Looking forward to that one.
Man, like I said, I rewatched that film last year, and I was like, man, this is like a masterpiece of cinema.
It is my yearly tradition. The first day of snow, I'm watching The Great Silence.
That's a great time. So I just want to let you know, the end of February, you say you're going to be off that last Friday.
Exactly, yeah.
So we're going to do Blue Collar next Friday. We're going to do Thomasina and Bush Rod for Valentine's Day.
And then, of course, whenever L has, we of course, there's
I'm going to ask Al because if he can do Wheat Straw the third week of February, if he can get that day off or whatnot, then that'll be fine. If not, we'll try have that at the beginning of March and do a soldier story. But we'll work out the details. I'll talk with Al. And also, the Comic Call crew will be live on Sunday night. It will be the start of Black Key Comics 3-part history on Black comic book characters and Black history in comics. So, Sunday night, 7 p.m.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna be at a certain amount of US time. I have no idea. At Gary B's channel, because we are interviewing Chop Isherwood, like a legendary Conan artist from the 80s until now, because he also recently did penciled an arc in the Search Sword of Conan magazine. So that's gonna be fun. Otherwise, we're looking forward to an unbelievable Royal Rumble tomorrow.
Tomorrow's gonna be packed, man. Tomorrow is gonna be packed. So great discussion. Thanks to everybody that watched this.
Woo!
And, we will be back next week. Until then, have a great weekend, y'all. Peace.